What is up, everybody? Savage Bernie here, and I've been editing for 27 hours. I edited for 17 hours, slept for 5, got up and edited it again for 10 hours, and so I'm pretty tired. I'm pretty done, and I'm just tired of looking at Gears of War. So, as you would do, I made a video about Gears of War, but more importantly, I made it about what I don't like about Gears of War Ultimate Edition. So Ultimate Edition does a lot of things right. It does 60 frames a second, it does high definition, it's got pretty good hit detection, there aren't any sponging characters, but there are a lot of things it doesn't do right, and some of these are from the original game, and some of these I feel like need to really be addressed. Number one, the clunky footsteps. I swear to God, I can't stand them. I can't stand the clunky footsteps. They drive me insane. Like, are our characters made out of solid lead? Why do we sound like we're elephants? I don't understand. Like, for the Locust, sure. But for the Cog, like, they're humans. Sure, they're on another planet. They're on Sarah, not on Earth, but still, they're humans. They shouldn't sound like that. Secondly, it would have to be the weapon that I'm using right here, the boom shot. So the boom shot is... It's weird. The boom shot's a grenade launcher. It should be pretty straightforward to use. You shoot it at people, it explodes. But it's so much more difficult than that. It explodes backwards and out, which is weird to me. I don't understand it. See, it's got a staged, a tiered explosion, which... I don't know. I didn't understand it in Gears of War 3, and I don't like it in this game either. Coincidence? I think not. I guess third would have to be the shotgun battles in this game. So there's two ways to do shotgun battles. There's the old Gears of War way, and then there's the less effective Gears of War way. So I think any Gears of War game where you rely on things such as the back A, such as popping over cover, I don't remember the proper term, again, been editing for 27 hours, where you shoot over cover, but you hit left trigger, then you hit right trigger as fast as you can in succession, and your character doesn't actually pop up, but your shot goes over. That's some bullcrap that should not be in the next Gears of War game. Like, the shot coming out of the center of the screen, again, that's just from... like. I don't like the shotgun in this game. I think that it's a step backwards from the Gears of War 3 shotgun. And after playing the Gears of War 4 beta, I have pretty high hopes. It was a hybrid of the two. It didn't have the craziness that is apparent in this shotgun, but it also kind of kept the feel of it being powerful, and it didn't make it so weirdly shot. So it still came out of the barrel, I think, in the beta, but it didn't necessarily come out at a weird spread like it did in Gears of War 3, where it was hard to, unless you had your barrel right in their gut, and even then sometimes it was hard. But one thing every Gears of War has struggled with is how your character looks when you shoot. I remember reading in the interview they did with Rob Ferguson about Gears of War 4 how he wanted to make sure that your character never looks stupid in the next Gears of War, and I think that's great. Let me give you some suggestions, especially when it comes to shotgun battles. So when it comes to shotgun battles, the way that it has worked in almost every single Gears of War game is that the player that gets the first shot in, assuming that both players hit all their shots equally, and they're of equal skill level, standing on the same ground, the player who shoots first wins. So the player who shoots first should win. That just makes sense. If I shoot you 4 times and you shoot me 3 times, then I should win that battle if we both hit the same amount of shots. How it's worked a lot in this Gears of War game is whoever rolls wins, and that is weird to me. You can noob roll in this game, and I don't like that. I also don't like that when you're in cover you sponge damage unless the other person's also in cover. So if I were to go around a piece of cover and there was someone on it and I shot them, they would take more damage than if they were not on cover. And I'm not talking about like if I can see the small part of their back over cover. I'm talking about if I'm next to them, if I'm aiming at their full body, they sponge a little bit more than normal than you would if you were just standing somewhere. And I don't like that mechanic either. The shotgun in Gears of War is the bread and butter. And so I think it needs to be as perfect as it possibly can. And we are now in our 5th game of trying, and they've tried all sorts of different things. They tried in Gears of War Judgment to do it easier. Everything was easier to blind fire, and they changed how everything now shot in the middle, which was fine, but after coming off of 4 years of it coming out of the barrel, it was a little hard to adjust to, and then even then it wasn't calibrated correctly, and a lot of times that happens in this game too. And like if you shoot towards the middle, sometimes it'll come out in the direction that you were moving or that you are moving, not where your gun is pointing. So if I were to strafe to the left and shoot, it would come out a little bit to one side or the other. It wouldn't come out right where I'm looking, even if I'm all centered up. And it's things like that. Also in this game, it's hard to body people with a blind fire shotgun. At least I have found you have to. Since it comes out of the center of the screen, it's awkward because you have to look down and shoot. You can't just be moving forward. If you're moving forward, they have to literally be inside your gun, and even then sometimes you'll miss. And I don't think I even need to mention shotgun sniping. Speaking of sniping, that brings me to my next gripe in the game, the sniper. A lot of people love the sniper. I'll tell you why you love the sniper in this game, because it's so easy to use that a child could do it. It zooms in right at head level. It's easy to sway. Now, granted, the Gears of War 3 sniper, I think, was not that great. There's a difference between skilled sniping and hard sniping, and that was really hard sniping. It took an incredible amount of skill and an incredible amount of luck to be able to do Gears of War 3 sniping because of the weird sensitivities you had to play on. You had to choose, do I want to be good with power weapons or do I want to be a sniper? Now, Gears of War Ultimate Edition, I think, makes steps in the right direction, but I think it oversteps way too much in terms of the sniper. I think that it's too easy. It's just too easy. And the same gimmicks apply to it that apply to the shotgun, center screen, blind fires, all kinds of crazy stuff over cover. I saw a guy in one of the matches I was playing today. He bounced into cover, and then as he was bouncing out, he shot, and he hit a guy. Oh man, I wish, like, it's hard to tell. If you were looking at this game, it wasn't on this map. It was on rooftops, but it was so far. He was so far away, and he was in cover, and like a lot of that was luck. But the fact that like he could line that up to get it to go correctly just seems weird to me. I don't like the fact that blind fires are like. They're almost 100% skill and no luck, and I don't like that. I liked the Gears of War 3 style blind fires where you knew the general area it was going to come out, but you had absolutely no idea where that was going to end up. And so it felt really good to get a blind fire because all of a sudden you knew that you did something really well. You knew that, okay, here we are. And I got this guy in front of me. I've already decided it's not going to be a panic. It's going to be a blind fire. And you hit it, and it just feels so good. Gears of War 3 blind fires are better than every other blind fire in the history of blind fires. I know a lot of people have a sensitive spot for Gears of War Ultimate Edition because of the remake aspect of it. And again, I think for a remake, it's really good. It sticks to the original very well. Problem is the original came out in 2006 and it's 2016, and I have a little different expectations. I also feel like I can look back at it without the nostalgia filter because I started on Gears of War 2 and I didn't even really like Gears of War 2. I was terrible at it. First of all, I mean that's a story for another time. But Gears of War 3 is my baby. It's my favorite out of the series, even though I know it has all kinds of just awful, glaring flaws in so many things. But I just want to point out how many flaws this game has, and even 10 years later, whenever they remake it and they revamp some of it, it's still difficult. It still has this aspect of a 2006 game, which is fine, which is great, but it just bugs me. It just bugs me that this is the standard that Gears of War is now held to, is this game. And when people say, oh, well, it's a remake, but like, how many excuses can we have? We've got Gears of War 3 that came out in 2012, 2011, somewhere in there. It came out 4 or 5 years ago. And then you've got this game, which basically came out in 2006, even though it says 2014 on it. Oh man, see if I got my dates right there. But we've evolved so much that I hate that we've had to regress back to this game. I think that the future of Gears of War lies in a different direction, and that in order for the series to grow, Gears of War 4 has to be different than other Gears of War games. It has to improve. Gears of War hasn't improved since Gears of War 3. Yeah, Gears of War 1, which was basically this game, which did well. It established the franchise, and it was great. It redefined shooter. So we established Gears of War 1, and it redefined shooters, third-person shooters, in the time period that it was released on the Xbox 360. How many other games? There were only a handful of what you would call franchise games, where the game itself coming out on the console was enough for you to buy it. Like, that's the whole reason I have an Xbox One. It wasn't even a debate for me. When people were talking about, hey, you know, the PlayStation is going to have better specs, I was like, that's great. Happy for you. Gears of War. Gears of War is the only thing I want. I only want Gears of War. I don't care about any other games that are coming out. If there's other games, then that's just bread and butter on top of Gears of War. Gears of War 2, of course, improved upon that. And then Gears of War 3 really started hammering things home. Now, believe it or not, I also believe the Gears of War Judgment did some things correctly. Overrun is a brilliant game mode. Free-for-all works okay in Gears of War. I think it'd be fun in a Gears of War 3 setting. I don't think it's as fun in a Judgment setting, and it would not be fun in a Gears of War Ultimate Edition setting. And see, free-for-all brings me back to my last point I'd like to make about this game, and that's the spawns and the matchmaking system. Blitz is my favorite game mode, and I think it's everything King of the Hill is supposed to be. It's fast-paced, it's fun, but it's also really competitive. It's everything I love about games. There's an objective, but it's fast-paced, and there's a whole lot of killing, and you all have to go to the same point. There's none of this running around and hiding for 10-minute bull crap that you get in like TDM and Execution. I love me some TDM on Gears of War 3, don't get me wrong. And I'm not a huge King of the Hill fan just because of the Lancer camping. But Blitz forces you to go out and to fight. And that's beautiful to me. But the 4-on-4 teams just kills me. Someone leaves, 3v4 is almost impossible. 2v4 is just awful. And I'm coming from a game that had bots. Gears of War 3 had bots. Gears of War 4 has bots. Gears of War Judgment has bots. And as much as I hated bots, and as much as, bots do the wrong thing a lot of the time, bots also fill a crucial role. You can make them a meat shield. Sometimes they get crazy blind fires from like forever away because they get more lucky than a human player ever could. Bots have a role to fill. And I think that they belonged in Gears of War Ultimate Edition, even if they weren't in the original game. I know, burn me at the stake now. Heaven forbid he want to change the original game. But this game has all kinds of flaws. And I'm over 27 hours. It's got to be like 30, 31 hours deep in editing and recording straight. And these are just my thoughts on the game after playing it for so long straight. Anyway, guys, if you've enjoyed, leave a like, leave a comment. I've been Savage Bernie, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
Baby.